Good evening, class. Good evening, everyone. I welcome you to a new semester. This is Personality Development 2. Now, I believe that you've done Personality Development 1, and therefore you have an idea of what personality is, even though I know that some of you, after the exam, you've forgotten everything about last semester. I believe that you would try to remember or recall what you did in Personality Development 1 so that we can take it over from there. Now, personality is simply all the things that the traits or the kind of innate traits that make you unique. So everything that is about you that makes you who you are as an individual, that is your personality. And now these things have sprung up from your childhood. You didn't just become what you are in a day. It has taken you years from the day you were born till today to become who you are now. So when we talk about your personality, it entails all the things that all the traits that make you unique. That is your personality. Therefore, in this course, because you have done Personality Development 1 already, we are going to focus on other areas that you did not look at in Personality Development 1. Okay, so for the purpose of this class, I'm going to share my screen with you. I'm supposed to give you your course outline, so I'll send that to you briefly in your, in the chat console. I'm going to send the course outline to you. Again, you are supposed to get yourselves prepared based on the topics that are on the course outline. So you come to class prepared because you have the course outline. You try as much as possible to read ahead of time so that you don't come to class fumbling and wondering what is going on in the class. All right, so we'll quickly go on to the slides so that we can understand certain things that we need to understand. All right, so my name is Nanaya Amankwa, and I'll be taking you for the course DBA 212. Right, now by the end of this unit, you should be able to define personality in your own words, also understand personality development, and then the importance PD has for the individual. As you know already, if you are seeking to understand others, then one of the key things that is supposed to be done is to be able to know who you are, in the sense that you should be able to identify the characteristics that make you different, as well as make others also different. Because don't forget that we are all unique. I mean, there's nobody on earth who is like another person. So there's a need for us to be able to understand, okay, who we are as individuals. Now, the personality that we talk about, the characteristics, okay, and the thoughts, the behaviors that make you different from other people. All right, everything that you have learned, and then the biological things that you were born with, okay, all these things come together to make your personality. Right, so briefly, we will go to what personality development is. Sorry about that, my slide. Okay, so what are the what is personality development? It includes all the activities that develop talents. So you have certain talents that you were born with. None of us was born into this world without a talent. Every one of us came into the world with talents, whether you believe it or not. So in personality development, we're saying that you want to be able to develop these talents that were innate, that were given to you by God. You came to the world with them. So you want to develop them, improve awareness of who you are, enhance your potentials, and look to improve the quality of your life. So you don't want to die with all the good things that you were made with, or the good things that you were born with. Now, Swami says that the history of the world is the history of a few people who had faith in themselves. So every time you see somebody's name mentioned in history, all it means is that that person was able to develop himself, was able to identify who he was, and build himself up in that regard. And that is how come these people are mentioned in history. So you can also be mentioned in history if you're able to identify who you are and develop yourself. All right. So some of the importance of personality development are it gives you confidence, credibility, easy interaction, and then you're able to lead and motivate because you are aware of who you are confident about it, you are always able to also help and lead others or motivate others as well. All right. So when you look at the image on the screen, you notice that a person is looking at himself in the mirror and he's asking himself, is this me? So whenever you take a mirror and you look at yourself, whatever image you have of yourself is what others will also see. Okay, is what the world around you will see. So in trying to develop a positive self-image, you want to be able to have a correct mental picture. If you look at the picture on the screen, you see a cat. If you can see exactly what I'm seeing, then you see a cat looking in a mirror, and in the mirror, the reflection there is a lion. Okay, and look at how fierce the lion is. It tells you that the cat has gone beyond the physical to look at himself as a strong and fierce animal that cannot be tempered with by other animals. So your self-image is actually how you see yourself, the mental picture you have of yourself. And it's a product of learning how your childhood experiences influence your life, your mental picture is what you have as your self-image now. The things that were said about you, the things that you know about yourself, all these things are put together to make up who you are. And these are what constitutes your self-image. So if this cat is able to see itself as a lion, it will be able to attempt and try to do things that lions do. And I tell you that because of the belief that it has, most of the time it's going to succeed in doing the things that it wants to do because it's all about the mind. It goes beyond what you see in the physical, it's about the mind. So the self-image we have is critical to our development. In an attempt to create a positive self-image, these are some of the things that we need to do. You need to take a self-inventory. Now, in taking a self-inventory, you're looking at the events of your life, trying to think through the life that you've had all these years. Okay, make a list of your positive qualities. What are the qualities that you have as an individual? You know yourself better than any other person. So in personal development, we're saying that to be able to create a positive self-image, intentionally look at the positive things that you can do. Ask other people to describe you in terms of your positive qualities, and then define personal goals and objectives that are reasonable and measurable. Also confront thinking distortions. When you are able to think through and say that, okay, so all this while this way that I've been thinking about myself is wrong, and you begin to think in a positive way, you confront that thought and say to yourself that, no, this way that I think is wrong, let me think of myself in this other regard. Then you are yearning to create a positive self-image. Also, identify and explore the impact of childhood labels. The kind of labels that were put on you from childhood. You are not beautiful. You are not handsome. You are not smart. You are down. You are lazy. All these labels should be identified and dealt with. You should also refrain from comparing yourself to others. See, if you want to compare yourself to others, you realize that you are always below. But once you understand that the people you compare yourself to also wish to be like you, then you have to definitely stop comparing yourself. Develop your strengths. What are the things that you're able to do? Ensure that you develop them. Now you learn to love yourself. In loving yourself, you try to do things that will make your life better. All right. Instead of looking at yourself and saying that, oh, I'm too slim. Oh, I'm too fat. Oh, I'm too fair. Oh, I'm too dark. Oh, I'm too tall. I'm too short. All these things are things that we say because we do not love ourselves enough. If we are able to love ourselves enough, we will understand that we were made in the image of God and that we cannot at any point look down on ourselves for any reason. All right. So that brings us to our next topic. Now, because the semester is a very short one, we'll be running through the topics. However, there are materials that will be shared on your LMS, and I'll encourage you to download them, use them at every point in time. Make very good use of the materials that will be uploaded for you. All right, social graces. Now, basically, social graces is an acronym mnemonic that explains the visible and invisible aspects of our identity. So what makes you who you are in terms of the things around you, what you have believed, what you know, your gender, all these things come together to explain why you behave the way you do. Now, the concept was developed by Benham in 1993. And he has made us understand that at any point in time, we can add on to the graces that he found and then adjust them as well. So these are the few that we have for now. So you have gender, geography, race, religion, age, ability, appearance, class, culture, ethnicity, education, employment, sexuality, sexual orientation, and spirituality. All right. So for now, these are the ones that we have. Now, when you look at them critically, you notice that every one of these areas affects an individual's life. Your gender, your geography, in terms of geography, where you grew up, in terms of your race, whether you are black or white, in terms of your religion, whatever religious beliefs you have, your age, your abilities, all these things come together to affect your person. All right. Now, when we meet other people and we are able to behave well before them, then they understand that the kind of social graces we are extending towards them are pleasant. However, when we actually end up misbehaving towards people, we actually allow people to think that we are not well-mannered, well-cultured, then they tend to believe that there's a problem with our orientation, all right? So it's time for us to discuss, because we have just talked about social graces, we'll quickly move into a discussion. Who is a gentleman? Now, I want you to pick a notepad and write down about 20 things that you'll be looking out for in a gentleman, about 20 items that you'll be looking out for. If you talk about who a gentleman is, what are the traits of a gentleman? All right. Now, somebody said that a gentleman is not defined by the contents of his wallet or the cut of his suit. He is defined by his manners and the content of his character. So if you are able to write down these 20 things, ask yourself, if you are a gentleman as a man in the class, or if you are a lady, to just go through and write down 20 things that you'll be looking out for in a gentleman. And when we meet next week, we'll discuss more and go into detail with respect to that. Again, we want to look at who a lady, a perfect lady is. All right. So you want to also write down about 20 characteristics or qualities that you'll be looking out for in a lady who is a perfect woman. And Thomas Hardy says that the perfect woman you see was a working woman, not an idler, not a fine lady, but one who used her hands and her head and her heart for the good of others. So we want to base an argument on the fact that it's not just about the physical beauty and all that. All those things are important, but your ability to impact lives is what makes you a perfect lady. So you want to look at the characteristics of a perfect lady, put them down, and we're going to discuss at length when we meet next week. These are the references we have. You can read through and then find more information. Thank you so much for joining the class. Thanks.